If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's a blow made.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
Stand up and take on the greed and corruption of the ruling class of this country.
The billionaire class has been taking everything, and the working class has been left scraping, paycheck to paycheck, just trying to survive.
The police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. You know what I mean? The correctional office. America is the biggest gang in the world.
A solidarity which fears not foreign invasion, because it is bringing all the workers to the point when they will say to their masters, go and do your own killing. We have done it long enough for you.
It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Guys, gals, and in-between pals, welcome back to the Left 4 Dead podcast. I'm your host, Emma Embers, Green Bay's friendly neighborhood chaos goblin. Joined, as always, by my awesome co-hosts and best of friends, local gay straight dude and Tammy Baldwin sleep paralysis demon, Dane Snedden. And everyone's favorite wonkle, the woke uncle, James Harris. And today we're also joined by, once again, as before, I'm pointing this way because that's where he is on my screen, our Pot King Jay. And also, I didn't think about this part ahead of time. Eve is here.
Eve, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Eve. I am 22 years of age. I'm currently a college student. I'm handling my general studies at NWTC, and then I will be transferring to UWGB pretty soon. I actually just submitted my application for the fall next year.
Hell yeah.
And I will be majoring in psychology.
Sweet.
But they need more chaos agents over there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, the three of us are all going to be gone shortly. So,
well, two of us are already.
But our legacy lives on, so they're still doing.
We have our little babies ready to keep it going.
I'm so ready. Get me in. Tag me in, coach.
So this will kind of be a fun little episode after we just got done having Fran on. We have special guests coming on the next 2 weeks, so we wanted to do kind of just a little Left 4 Dead and Friends type of event here, because we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and it's always nice to have more perspective on it. I mean, we all woke up this morning, the day that we're recording on the 4th, and saw that Dick Cheney died. So I think we're all kind of feeling the same way about that right now.
The fires of Ronald Reagan's eternal prison have been stoked with more bodies.
What's the quote? I've never celebrated death, but I've read obituaries with great satisfaction.
Yeah, I celebrate this death. Like with Kissinger, Reagan, and this one are the three that I'm like, those are mine.
No, I would, but he'd probably still be a better Republican president than Donald Trump.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Relatively speaking, of course.
How dare you make that thought ever cross my head?
What's up, Jay?
I said that bar isn't even on the ground; it's in a ditch.
Yeah. Or the bar is in hell, as they say. It is in hell because most of these guys are there.
Period.
Yes, and then the other thing that I know we wanted to talk about was the new report produced by the Democratic Party, talking about where they see themselves, where they need to go to fix the party, right? We've been waiting for this for a long time. What are they going to do, to right the ship?
And unfortunately, that news is nowhere near as good as the Dick Cheney news, so decided to flip it and start with that to kind of give you like a little calm, feel great, it's happy. And now we'll get into the shit, because it's shit. So I don't even know how to start on this. Imagine what world we'd be in if Wickler had gotten the DNC chair spot. And instead we got this fucker. Never trust the Minnesotans, I swear to God. I'm just kidding. Anybody from Minnesota. But yeah, so basically the the thing that they essentially were trying to argue was that, first of all, they said that they didn't spend early or consistently enough to engage and persuade voters, which that's fair. It's not all 100%. And then they point out that swapping Joe Biden with Kamala Harris on top of the ticket was also kind of shitty for a lot of people.
Duh.
But that, I have been complaining for a long time, is 100% Joe Biden's fault, because if he had just gotten out of if he had not run at all for the second time as he promised in 2020, that entire problem would have been avoided. We would have had an entire primary, and it would have been a different story. We probably would have won, honestly. But Joe Biden got a Joe Biden. I'm staying in the race 3 days before he gets out. Actually, I think that was like a few weeks before it got out. But
yeah, let's wait.
They also said that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. They also said that failure to respond to top issues that voters have. So, like, for example, the fact that they kept insisting that everything was fine, even though people were screaming that everything was not fine. And they were like, no, don't believe your lying lived experiences. I, big politician in my ivory mansion, say that it's fine. So that's definitely, that was super helpful. They also, though, where it got weird was when they started saying that they emphasized abortion and democracy over the economy and immigration, and then started like basically saying that their focus on social issues was a mistake, which is them basically saying like they need to back away from being supportive of trans people, they need to back away from being actually oppositional on immigration. They need to, like, basically the entire thing boils down to we need to be softer Republicans, like more competent Republicans, which is kind of how they've been trending since Clinton, but you know.
Yeah.
So I just, like, the part that annoyed me the most about it, and now I'm just kind of exhausted, is that, like, I'm so tired of trans people and LGBT people at large being like the primary movers on the ground for canvassing for these candidates, and then they turn around and stab us in the back every fucking time. Like, I literally did the entirety of Green Bay 6 times for Kamala Harris. Most of my body was failing. My knee was at the point where I had to keep a brace on it or it wouldn't work. And I still just slapped that bitch on there and kept going. Strained my Achilles tendon, and I just put on a little ankle brace and kept going. Like, and then 7 months later, they're like, actually, we honestly should have just said, fuck you guys, and fed you to the wolves. And it doesn't feel so great.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it kind of leaves a question to quote a famous revolutionary, what is to be done at this point in time? And Jay, I'm kind of curious what you guys think. I mean, do you guys think that we're also seeing a resurgence of socialist candidates or democratic socialist candidates? I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts if you think that electing them is going to do enough to shift the party. I personally don't have hope. After this report, I was hopefully optimistic that the Democrats would, maybe realize it. But again, they're showing that they're putting capital first.
Mm-hmm. Jay, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that assessment, Dane. When I got the overall the overview of the autopsy, and thank you, Emma, for explaining what an autopsy was in this context. I hadn't really dug into one of those before. But after reading through it and seeing just how tone deaf the DNC is.
Yes, that's a good word.
All I could imagine was the scene from the third Hangover movie where Zach Galifianakis' character is at his father's funeral and says, "I will never change, not ever." And that's all they could have summed up that whole autopsy by just saying, "We're not going to change. We're going to keep, doubling and tripling down on this, trying to win over the Mitt Romney Republican this last time, and now, you know, going further to the right seems to be what they want to do for the next go around. So yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yes.
I don't know how I can top that. So basically what I'm thinking, also it is election day for some states and whatnot, and
yeah, potentially good,
Zoran
more
being
good news today.
one. I don't think electing progressive socialist Democrats are going to truly help that term. It will have to be consistent, because this is going to be, it's very systemic what is wrong, and it is going to take a while to change, especially going through my psych classes. A lot of it is affecting all of us, and it is causing a lot of disorder in people, and a lot of these conditions stem from, well, are caused by genetics, but also triggered by the environment. So a lot of mental illness that is a huge epidemic in this country is caused by a lot of the problems that our government, the system, has put us in. So it is going to take a lot of terms for this change to actually happen. So it would have to be these people being elected consistently. It is not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in one singular term. So I think it's kind of,
Zoran's not going to be the silver bullet. That's
correct.
Going to,
unless Netanyahu lands in New York, and then he'll be the silver bullet for him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
James. Oh shit, James, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Does this work?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. My ability to bloviate has been restored.
Wait, shit, fix it.
Wow.
I think there's a problem, and here's what that problem is. It is really easy for us to wax poetic about the environment or mental health or labor organizing or trans rights or any of these topics that are super, super important. But the dirty truth is that not a single one of these topics wins elections. What wins elections is the economy, and the economy is ass right now.
Mm-hmm.
So right now there's not really any pressure on the Dems to do anything, because Trump is doing such a shit job at the economy. Like, they're probably just going to win by default. And what are they going to do?
Which I was really hoping wasn't going to happen, but
yeah, it's going to happen unless it's so gerrymandered that it doesn't even matter anymore. But he's doing such a terrible job that people are going to vote against that soon. It's going to happen. And then the Dems are going to have
because sorry, I was just going to add like the quick little reinforcement of it. It looks like that's the case too, because Trump is actually polling worse than he did after January 6th, which is pretty insane.
But then, so what they're going to do is they've got no incentive to adopt something more progressive, because, you know, friendly, good for business, good for the economy as it currently exists stance is literally all you need to win an election right now. So what they're going to do is they're going to get into power. They're going to roll back the worst of the worst of Trump's things and continue on the same basic trajectory. And I'm starting to get convinced that we didn't have FDR and all the New Deal policies and the failed second economic Bill of Rights until we hit the Great Depression. So I'm starting to think that we don't have a chance for any meaningful progress until something like that hits again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on that a little bit. I think it's true they are going to focus. I mean, the economy is always the number one like focal point of why people vote. But again, I think it's also messaging that's tied into that, because you can have a pro-trans message and saying that it's good for the economy, right? Because they're workers. So, you know, like you can kind of fit both of those things in. And I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. So I don't think that they necessarily need to focus solely on the economy and not also talk about abortion rights, right? Because women have abortion rights, you know, the economy's probably going to be better.
Well, we did.
I'm not saying that it's a good thing, right? Like, just to be perfectly clear. But I think, like, when you try and focus on two issues, that's more work you need to put in. Which is why they're not going to unless they have to.
Yeah, I think the Zoran method is kind of like what I think is the blueprint going forward. And granted, he's in New York, so I mean, it's going to be a little bit different. But the way that he's done it is he still has his platform outlining that he's like, I will fucking fight anybody that comes after New York's trans community. We're going to fight anybody that comes after the immigrants. We're going to 100% arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he shows up. There's all of that. And then, but the focal point and what he ties everything else around and what he talks about the most is the economy and affordability aspect. So it makes it to where, yeah, he does have these other positions. Yeah, he's going to do these other things, but his main focus is the fact that the economy is garbage.
Jay.
No, yeah, and that's generally I do agree with what James had said, and I also agree with that we can bring in the intersectional nature of struggle to tie in all of the various struggles to the economy. But I also wanted to touch just really quick. It was something that you had said towards the end about FDR, and it took until the Great Depression before we really had a New Deal going. I also want to just point to another major factor with FDR and the New Deal is the USSR and its existence. At that time and throughout the USSR's existence, ever since 1917 until the collapse of the USSR, worldwide, there was an answer to capitalist way of living. There was a worker state that had existed parallel to the capitalist structure of the day, and progressives, people in like the Communist Party USA, AFL-CIO at the time, before the purges of the 50s, they could point to the USSR when they were trying to lobby for policy positions and say, you can pass this moderate reform, or we can have our own October Revolution.
Yeah.
And, that didn't just work in the US. I mean, across Western liberal democracy, so to speak, the existence of a strong counterbalance with worker states,
like social safety nets and all that.
Yeah, it directly influences how the U.S. and other capitalist countries address societal problems too. And now I think as we see China start rising more and more, that could be the USSR kind of this generation. Maybe not, not direct parallels, obviously, but as far as being able to point to an alternative and say that there's something, if you don't do this, then we have another option.
One
Which
thing
incidentally is probably why they bought TikTok.
Yeah, well, I do think that it's funny that you're saying that, because I am seeing a lot of stuff on social media now of content creators in China that are like, hey, this is what a day of the life is like. Like, look, I'm walking to the train, and then there's like all these restaurants below the train stop, and it's
what's
like
a train?
Yeah, no, I know. So I think it's an interesting observation, Jay.
I'll say it's interesting, and I'll also say that there's a lot of stuff that China has done right, but I'll also say that I do not want to live there, because we wouldn't be allowed to do this podcast here. You're not allowed to criticize Xi, and wins and losses. But coming back to the FDR,
I think only you would be censored though, because me and Dane have never really said anything negative.
I have no problem
about
spending
Xi.
2 hours extolling the virtues of glorious President Xi.
Yeah,
Yes, I didn't say that. Sorry. Don't censor me, Mr. G.
The problem is, and I get some of the model, but every time you praise dictators, it makes it harder for the movement to actually get anywhere in the United States, because we live in a Western culture. We're not like a Confucian-based society. Like, I'm sure that works just fine for China. Like, you almost need a strong person to hold a country of that size together, but that is absolutely not the model I would want to adopt here. Like, I think your best bet here is some sort of model of democratic socialism, which we were so close to actually getting Because you got to remember, like the coming out of the robber baron era, like the early 1900s up until the 1929 crash and then the subsequent Great Depression, capitalism was starting to become a deeply, deeply unpopular ideology just because of its association with fascism. And there were a lot of communist parties and socialist parties that were doing some pretty big moving and shaking, which culminates in FDR almost getting us to a place of actual democratic socialism. But then we see all those reforms slow walked back over the next 50, 65 years. And it pains me to say this, but that's the fault of the progressives, because you had all these more radical movements co-opted by people who their main aim was to keep the existing system in place in some form or another. And I'm of the opinion that we're kind of stuck with capitalism, but we don't need to keep the existing system in place.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that like that was also like the FBI and CIA and stuff like that were all created as ways not just to suppress any non-capitalist ideology overseas, but also to do it here, which is stuff like COINTELPRO and all that. Rest in peace, Fred Hampton. But yeah, no, he's absolutely right. FDR was like, there's a reason why, even though he did some shitty stuff like the internment of Japanese people, I still like am constantly like extolling the virtues of FDR. Less so him himself and more so just the stuff that he did. Like the fact that he had the balls, I guess, for lack of a better word, to stand up to his own class as a class traitor and say, yeah, no, fuck you guys. We're going to pass this stuff because it's better for everybody else. Also, we are here today because of FDR, because that man invented the podcast with the fireside chat.
All great points. I do think there are some very interesting parallels that are going on now. Like I saw, which I thought was super cool it's cool that it's happening, but the reason it's happening is not cool. With all of the crackdowns happening in New York, the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords actually came together like Fred Hampton-esque in Chicago and are starting to do the community garden and the food assistance thing like that. So I thought that was kind of just a really cool little parallel nugget. But what do you guys think about Trump has now announced that he's going to be funding SNAP
at 50%?
Right.
Well, also he was kind of forced to, but yeah.
Wait, we got something more important first, though. Eve, can you say something so the audience can see the cat?
Oh yeah, with this weird recording system.
This is Luca. He's the bomb.
Such a sweet boy.
Hi, Luca.
Did you get him from Safe Haven?
I did.
Yeah, gonna have to drop that
He's
every
the
once in a
best.
while in the show, just like Safe Haven.
He's
Wearing
the
my
best.
Safe Haven shirt.
Yes. He's my Safe Haven merch.
He reminds me of Glitch, actually. He's super sweet.
Yeah.
Hi.
He has a lot of social anxiety, so he's like his mama.
Eve,
Yeah,
one important
same.
question before we get back to serious stuff. Do you think cats are comrades?
Yes.
Like how you had to look at him for a second first, where you're just like, I don't know,
Okay.
are you? Yeah.
Can I get some
Always.
rationale?
He's my little pro-socialist boy. I don't know what you mean. He watches Hassan with me, and then he tries
see?
to like rub his face all over my phone. Like he's obsessed with Hassan.
Hassan, friend of the show.
Yes. So he
also
is
probably appreciates that
pushing-
Hassan apparently abused his dog. I'm just kidding. He did not abuse his dog.
Oh,
Let me just get that out
yeah.
of the way.
Luca didn't take that
Respect
shit.
versus dogs.
Mm-mm. No, he's
Oh
the
my
best.
God,
So
face.
I'm
he's-
of the
Face,
belief.
I'm obsessed.
I know he's
I'm-
just the best. He has a mustache, and
not a Hitler one.
Not a Hitler one, but it's a bushy one that goes. You know,
Would you call it Stalin-esque?
Yeah,
Stalin-esque,
it is.
Yeah. but he's best.
Oh, also,
Chairman Meow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, FYI, Jay, is it good you mentioned that because when we had 3 kittens that are currently at our Appleton location in coffee shop, and when they came in, I was the one that was there to name them, and so their names ended up being Ferdinand, after Ferdinand Magellan, because she was. I thought it was a boy, but she is very exploratory and stuff like that, so it made sense. The second one was Posley, which I thought was a girl and was actually a boy. Turns out really hard to tell kitten genders when they're that small. But Posley still works, so you know.
You're 0 for 2 so far.
Yeah. Well, the third one I also got wrong because I thought Chairman Meow was a girl or was a boy, and she was a girl. But I left it as Chairman Meow.
So while that was happening, opened up Facebook as one does, and I saw people calling. No.
Damn.
I saw people calling for Newsom Ocasio-Cortez 28.
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, AOC, yes. But Newsom, no.
Flip that around, I'm down.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if he was vice president.
You say that.
Yeah, the hope that left my eyes when I said, "Is Bush also dead?" And then you're just like, "No." People are saying Gavin Newsom for 28, and I'm like, ugh. Like as somebody who used to be a massive Gavin Glazer, I've confessed this grave sin on the pod before. Fuck Gavin Newsom. We're done with him. We're done with him. We're done with his type of Democrat. Fuck that shit. No, eat shit, Gavin. Still keep doing what you're doing in California, but eat shit.
Yeah, Pritzker is kind of, I think, also setting up a run for 2028 too. I mean, both of them have been obviously releasing the memes and going viral on Twitter, and people are eating that shit up. So it's literally the perfect opportunity for them to make their stance for a run. So that's what they were doing the whole time. Like, can't really deny it. So
yeah,
I hope
Pritzker is definitely.
He's a good billionaire.
Yeah. To me, Pritzker is like the closest we have today to FDR, because not in terms of his policy exactly, but in terms of his background and what he's willing to do, which is, I think, of everybody that we have, he's the one billionaire in this country that's the most likely to be an FDR style class traitor. And I mean, he seems like he's not perfect. None of them are, but like, he seems like he's willing to actually do the right thing. And what I would love to hear, and would totally be 100% down on the Pritzker train if he did this, is if he came right out and said, you know what? Yeah, we do want to tax billionaires, including my fat ass. Don't say it like that, but like, I mean, if he said it like that, I would also still be like, fuck it, I'm Pritzker 28.
I would move to Illinois to vote for him.
Right, exactly. Like, all right, fuck it, Pritzker it is. But no, just like that sentiment of like, no, we're not just taxing billionaires, we're taxing me.
What if I told you that Pritzker used to serve on the board of a certain APAC?
I knew that already.
Don't do these things to me.
And you have so much good news with Dick Cheney burning in hell already. Like, can we not keep dowering the mood?
It looks like Kamala is teeing up for another run too.
Sounds like that's gonna happen, to be honest. Like, I think she'll run, but I don't think she's gonna.
He's like,
I need. We talked a little bit about this in a group chat that we are in, and I need to get y'all's take, especially Eve, the token woman. We have two token women.
I'll just go fuck myself. It's cool.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm the Cheney guy. You can't bring down my.
So to be the token.
I think Emma is one of the boys. So Kamala Harris, did she lose because she was a woman?
Yes, she did. I'm
sorry. Were we just asking Eve or asking everybody?
I mean, I think everybody, but like if even you have perspective, because I got like
I have a lot to say about Kamala.
I got into it like with some of my coworkers who are like, super liberal, and I was like, I think it was more just like her platform, and they were like, no, that's crazy, she it's because she was a woman. So
all right, I'll start with the hot take.
Fine, the man can go first.
I'm going to start with the take you're most likely to disagree with. Then you got plenty of time to unmansplain it to me. Okay, yes, Kamala absolutely lost because she's a woman. That it's just because their society is that sexist. You look around the world, most successful female politicians come from far-right parties. And mark my words, the first American woman president is going to be a Republican for the simple fact that the patriarchy only allows it when it doesn't threaten them. Rant over.
Yeah. I like to quote other Emmas that I like Emma Goldman, my great grandmama. She's not actually my grandma, but and also Emma Vigeland, who's like amazing.
Hey.
If anybody doesn't follow her, Emma Vigeland is a hero of the left. She's super amazing. But her take on it is pretty much mine, which was that, yes, absolutely 100% the main reason she lost was her platform. If she had not campaigned with Dead Dick's daughter, I forgot her name, so I just went with fucking over Dick Cheney again. Lynn Cheney.
Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney. God damn it. Whatever her fucking name is, fuck her too. I mean, that one, when they...
We might have lost Emma.
Okay, Emma's Cheney hate knocked out their feed.
Yeah.
Censoring, coming for us, guys.
Yeah, Emma crashed out a little too hard.
Emma, you're back. We missed the last 30 seconds.
Yes.
And we can't hear you.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything?
I guess I'll continue.
Yes.
It's the feds.
I'm not done with this yet.
Okay, Emma, continue now that you're back.
Down. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, it's absolutely her platform and the fact that she decided to campaign with a fucking Cheney daughter, and basically from the convention on, she lost that race. I think she absolutely still 100% could have won that. Actually, I think for that matter, Hillary could have absolutely won in 2016 if she wasn't the kind of person that she was. If she had come fully against everything that she had ever, her and her husband had ever done, and been like, you know what? No, I am absolutely Bernie Sanders is my VP. Let's fucking do this shit. Since he was number 2 in the primary. If she had done all that, she would have gangbusters ran away with 2016, I think. But it's the fact that she had all of the scandals that the right wing had been building up on her for 30 years, weighing her down, and then everything else going on. And that happened with Kamala too. But it does still play a role that Kamala and Hillary were both women, and Kamala in particular was not white. I think that stuff did, even if people don't realize it, that is still a concern for people that have been just boiled in this racist stew of America. And I catch myself sometimes where I'm one of the most pro woke weirdos out there, and I still catch myself every once in a while thinking something that I'm like, oh no, that's little bits of my dad still in my head. Let me get that out of there. Sorry, he's a piece of shit, not me. So I think it's that element where, and that was what Emma Vigeland had said, was that it was her policies and her platform primarily and majority, but it did still play a role that she was a woman and Black/East Asian, South Asian.
Yeah.
I will also agree with Emma there. I think she was okay when she was first put in, but then once Trump was really hitting on the immigration and fear mongering and whatnot, and then the war of, I think it was Russia and Ukraine at the time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think then she kind of hopped on that train, and that screwed her over a lot. I also think, yes, her being a woman and a part of a lot of other minority groups, also played a factor. I won't lie. I'm not saying that her being a woman was the only reason that she didn't
Yes,
win.
right.
But I think like a lot of people she lost a lot of Democrats, a
Yeah.
lot, and a lot of independents because of some of her points,
A
like
lot of
becoming
leftists,
this
too.
freaking war general. And then she didn't even win over the, let's say, the Black community and other ethnic groups because her campaign was all over the place and she didn't know what to do with it. And she was changing her stance and taking a whole 180, like, and going against everything that she said. And then, of course, everyone was in love with Tim Walz, her VP, and I actually got to meet him. He's great. He's great. When he came to Green Bay to rally, he such a nice man. I think he was a decent VP candidate. However, her stance and just her pivoting all the time, I think ruined that entire campaign.
Yeah, it did. It also nullified the Walz pick entirely because the whole point of the Walz pick was to make her more progressive. And before the convention, it was doing exactly that. Like she was fucking the shit. Like I jumped on the K-Hive train because of the pre-convention Kamala, and then after the convention, regretted my choices, but it was too late. It was that or fascist. So I stuck around. But the pre-convention Kamala, especially, like, was great up until she picked Tim Walz, and then she was amazing. Like, I was like, this is way better than anything I had hoped for. But then she kept on too many Biden staffers because she didn't have time to run a campaign. Again, fuck you, Joe Biden. And so she just and that's, you know, she does still have agency. A lot of people kind of infantilize her and take her agency away and say, like, all the Biden advisors, you know, made her do the dumb shit. And it's like, no, she chose to do the dumb shit. She could have said, that seems like a stupid idea after we did this entire fucking progressive pivot here and got Tim Walz and all that. And now you're telling me to act like a Republican? That seems like a dumb idea. But she didn't do that. She was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. And so she does bear responsibility in that regard. But like, if she had just stuck with the pre-convention version of herself and let Tim Walz actually help her campaign instead of shoving him in a closet, figuratively. Actually, maybe it was literal. I don't know. He kind of disappeared.
It was literal.
Yeah, he was just like, get in there, Tim. Shut up. But yeah, that if she had stayed with that and let Tim keep campaigning, because the whole Republicans are weird shit, and him like, this came after the election, but the way that he went on stage, I forget what event it was, but he went on stage somewhere and said that the way that he wakes up and gets hope every day in the Trump administration is he has Tesla stock on his phone, to where he wakes up and the first news article he sees is how bad the Tesla stock was doing. And I thought that shit, I was like, man, if we could have had this man as vice president, like literally dunking on Elon Musk from the Oval Office, like this would have been great. But, and then like, you know, she had actually had a campaign, she had campaigned against price gouging, which was like the fact that she was actually willing to say greedflation. Like I was like begging.
She
I
could
was
say
like,
that,
please.
but not the other G word.
Yep.
Well, that's also a totally, that whole thing got her too, because she kept like, I think that I do still think what I thought then, which was that she would have been better on the genocide than Biden. There were a lot of signs there. She had actually kept on her foreign policy advisor instead of just recycling Biden's, like with everything else. And her foreign policy advisor was the guy that helped Obama negotiate the JCPOA or the Iran nuclear agreement that he had in his first term, that or second term, that Trump undid. That guy has also been very critical of Israel, and she had him on as her foreign policy advisor. So there were a lot of signs that she was going to be better than Biden on. She also didn't like Netanyahu at all. But the problem is, again, she still has agency on this, even though technically speaking, it was other people advising her and stuff like that. When Biden told her no daylight, she was like, okay. And that was what really doomed her more than most of the decisions that she made. She could have, a lot of them, like I think the Liz Cheney stuff she could have overcome that if she had kept the rest of it. But it was specifically the fact that she refused to ever say anything different than the Biden administration on the economy, because she just kept going with the no, everything's great. Shut up. Stop saying things aren't good. Things are great. And on the genocide in Gaza, where she just refused to do anything other than we are working tirelessly for a ceasefire 2 years later.
Yeah, before James goes, I do want to say I think it'd be a really good discussion to have, because we have multiple different strains of kind of leftist ideology, so to speak, on right now, to kind of get
Just
people's
like the autism spectrum, we have the leftist spectrum.
to kind of get people's perspective on voting for president. I'm especially curious to hear Jay's, because I think it would probably be pretty similar to mine. But James, if you want to enlighten us quick.
Okay, so if you look at the election results, it's something like 76 million votes for Kamala and like 77 million votes for Trump, right? So I will say that Kamala's platform did not help anything, but if you replace her with a generic straight white man candidate, I believe she would have at least won the popular vote, or I believe that hypothetical candidate would have at least won the popular vote, because as sexist as our society is, you can't tell me that there's all that takes is 1 in 75 people going, no, I'm not going to vote for a woman, or no, I'm not going to vote for a person of color. And I firmly believe that number is a lot higher than 1 in 75.
Yeah, considering 30% of the voters are Nazis.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting too. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think that kind of leads into the question, because I know that a lot of people were getting really mad at folks on the left. Like, I know my time on campus with SDS, we were doing a lot of the like vote uninstructed during the primary, and I was of the perspective, I voted for Kamala. I'm not ashamed to say that. I viewed it, after having a lot of talks with LGBTQ plus comrades that were very far left, harm reduction type of thing. I know we all hate hearing that. I didn't want to. I think kind of Hassan said the same thing, that he was like, I kind of bit my tongue and voted for her. But I wasn't going to tell anybody to vote for her. That was the thing, right? Is like, there was a lot of groups on school that were like, yeah, I mean, all politics is harm reduction. That is true. But for example, Palestinian people, right? Like, we had a number of Palestinian people that we were organizing with. I wasn't going to sit there and evangelize to them and say, no, like, you need to vote for Kamala. And I don't think the vote uninstructed thing or any of that really did any harm. I think they've come out and the numbers have agreed with that, you know, the far left not voting hasn't done them any harm. Curious for obviously both Eve and Jay, your guys' kind of perspective on that.
So first of all, I just want to say, James, I really appreciate your hot takes for this podcast. I think it's actually very productive, and also it offers a whole other view. So I always appreciated your opinions and your thoughts before coming on to this show and watching the other episodes. So snaps for James.
Yes.
Thank you.
And my other point was, I think Kamala was very focused on capturing the Republican vote more than the independent vote, which is strange, because it was almost pointless for her to campaign with Liz Cheney. She didn't have to win over some Republicans, because some Republicans are still sick of Trump, because obviously he was being very stupid, like during Joe Biden's term, and saying all of these idiotic things and just very out there, and I mean, not as crazy as he is right now, but I mean, I think she focused on the wrong group.
Got a
She
hard
fo-
to top eating the cats, though.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I thought he was done after that one, to be honest. And when he still won, I was like, but that part, like, how
I
did
know,
nobody
and
go?
it's-
No, that's not it for me. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just think I don't know. She definitely played the wrong group. I think she really should have focused on basically calling what the Israel and Palestine genocide as it was. It was a genocide, and she just lost that, which a lot of people did not vote due to that one fact. So it is disappointing, but it's also valid because, I mean, obviously your vote does matter. Everyone's vote does. And it tells a lot, especially in large numbers. So I think that she lost a lot of people from that, and just independents in general who were still kind of walking the line between uncertainty. So, and obviously shoving Tim Walz in a closet, literally and figuratively, for basically telling him to calm down for all of being so outspoken and being the Midwestern dad that he is.
That was
I
literally
think
the most
it
popular
is
thing about him.
I think it is very I don't know, that did her dirty. It did the whole campaign dirty. And now look where we are. It's frustrating, but obviously we can't be mad at the people who did not choose to vote. And that's how
No,
it's
we
gonna
can, but
be, well, we can, but it's also a lot of like, even for Republicans, it's like fuck around and find out, which is the huge attitude right now. But it's also, we're all angry about the same things, but we're directing all of our anger towards the
different
wrong
people.
things. So we share all this same frustration, but it's also, we don't know what to do with it because there's not the right person that is willing to run for all of us to actually unite and like agree that there is a problem and there are ways that we can fix it and we can do it together. There is not the right person right now. Well, right now in office and running for office yet, especially for a big position for president. And obviously, like I said earlier in the pod, it's going to take a lot of people and a lot of runs and a lot of terms for things to get better systemically. So
yeah,
two things. Number one,
Jay.
Yes,
but...
I do too. We all of
we're
you guys
shoving
know
him in the
this.
closet now.
all of you guys know this. I just wanted to plug.
I'm being Tim Walz.
Francesca Hong is that person for the state of Wisconsin.
Yes, 100%.
Yes, but Jay, yes, we're all curious to.
It could have been Bernie, but yes, Jay.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I agree. And I also want to say too, I also enjoy James's hot takes because I feel like even though they're called hot takes, they aren't that hot. Like they're very reasonable. Like, and I think that's why I like them is because you get us all talking, and like even when I'm listening in and not on the pod, like I like listening because you really know how to generate some really good discussion around stuff that
thank you.
and especially for myself, like with some of my leftist views, like sometimes I overlook some of the trees for the forest. Yeah, I don't see the forest for the trees, and so it's good to get that like refocusing on certain issues. So,
I agree.
Yeah,
You also
and
can call us
on
our bullshit, which is
electoralism, I am not a proponent myself of electoralism at the national level. I do believe in local, county, state elections, things that have your day-to-day people that are going to affect your day-to-day. And that's not to say that national level politics don't affect people's day-to-day. However, I don't believe that there is a large enough gulf between the two major parties at this time to endorse one over the other specifically. And a lot like Dane said, where I didn't feel comfortable telling anybody that they had to go vote for Kamala, even though I knew and I still feel, that they were a much better option than what we have now. Despite, all my valid critiques, there are still better and worse options within the, so with that, yeah, like I believe in electoralism to a point. I believe in electoralism within a system that truly reflects democratic values and reflects the will of the voter. But what we have in America right now, I think there was that recent-ish study that showed that 2% of public policy decisions are made with public like polling in mind, but 98% of it comes from the donor class. So I think electoralism in this country under this system does not work. But I do believe in I do believe in democracy, and I do believe that if you give the people who are in the country direct means to vote on people who reflect their values, that it works. We just don't have that. I also wanted to throw in a hot take too, that I think 2024 was the beginning of the end of the Democratic Party. We used to think that the Whigs were probably going to last forever too, back when they were around. But I think I think 24 was an adapt or die moment, and I think they chose die.
And it is their time, because at this point they're the longest serving or longest existing political party in the U.S. because they were one of the original two. So.
Yep.
James.
Yeah, I've got to go. I've got to go for some interviews for a company that I don't particularly want to work for, but the economy sucks.
Oh, you should.
But
don't record that part.
No, do record that part. I've got so many interviews. None of the what if you're one of the people that is interviewing me, I promise that you're the one company that I actually liked.
Yeah, because you're watching the pod.
I was recording. That's all James was talking about, was that particular company.
Yes. Yep, that one. But Jay, I've got to go. And thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure as always. But we need to get Jay back on, because we need to have this discussion, because there is.
I'm so desperate to argue about electoralism. I have so much.
Yeah. We need to argue about electoralist politics, because I'm a big fan of the Think Globally, Act Locally movement, or that school of thought. But when you have a country as large as the United States, with such vast geographic and cultural differences between the constituent parts, you have kind of two options. One would be to balkanize the whole place, and one is going to be a federal government that's kind of out of touch. And I want to have this conversation, but next time.
Yeah.
No,
all right. Peace.
Bye, James.
See you, James.
So yeah, the thing that I wanted to add as far as the Kamala stuff goes is, as one of her biggest defenders during the campaign, because I had to, it was my job. And also I was not about to do, I was like, I literally, my entire mantra for the entire election, no matter how bad it got, was I do not want to watch the results come in wondering if I could have done more to
that's valid.
Go one way or the other. And so, but I still I was very deeply moved by this one specific interview. I think CNN did it. It was right in the aftermath of the Michigan uninstructed, or whatever they call it over there.
Yeah, it was uninstructed for us.
Yeah. That whole protest movement against the genocide by technically voting for nobody for the primary, the fake primary. They had basically interviewed a couple white kids that were Americans, and then some Muslim people that were Americans, all of them in the Michigan area. And I say as if it's not an entire state. I think they were around Dearborn or something. But they asked them aren't
the largest concentration?
Yeah. And they were like, well, aren't you worried that if you don't, or they asked if they felt like they could vote for Joe Biden, because this was when he was still in the race, obviously. Basically, if Biden didn't change his policy on Gaza, they asked them if they could still vote for him in November. And they were being very honest. And they were like, no, I don't think so. And they were like, well, aren't you worried about Donald Trump and what he'll do? And they were like, well, yeah, but I mean, do I value democracy more than I value Palestinian lives? No. I mean, if I have to suffer to make it clear that I'm not supporting this genocide, that's what I got to do. And that really spoke to me and moved me. And also multiple people pointed out, Hassan was a big one, pointed out that the way that Rashida Tlaib was treated during that whole thing was fucking horrific.
I got to meet Rashida when I was downstate, and like yeah, like it
I'm
was.
so
I
jealous.
didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry, I just
No, that's
I was
No,
down in
yeah, that's cool.
Lansing.
I love her. I love her so much.
I spoke at the October 18th No Kings event down in Lansing.
We wanted to talk to you about that. Okay,
Oh,
sorry, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make this part a little quick. But based like they pointed out that these two things were the things that informed how I interacted with people about the Gaza issue, and that was that they pointed out that how immoral is it to ask someone like Rashida Tlaib, who literally has family in Gaza, her grandmother, to do anything that would remotely support the genocide or support anybody that's endorsing and promoting the genocide. That's horrific. Like especially since it's like, it's basically kind of like how Democrats are always like, trans people, shut up about your fucking rights. Like, we're trying to win these elections. And it's like, well, what does that matter if when you get in there, you're just going to do shit that fucks me over anyway? Like,
you need to draw a line somewhere.
Right, exactly. Like my line is fascism and genocide. That's why I was like, we shouldn't do purity tests, but at the same time, like, if we can get like 60-40, we should be okay with that. But some of those 4 things that we disagree on, or some of the 6 things that we agree on, have to be no genocide, no fascism, which means no Gestapo immigration stuff. Like, we can compromise. Like, I'm willing to compromise on most foreign policy stuff because what the fuck ever. But to the only in the sense that it doesn't involve war or genocide. Like, if it involves war, like right now we're talking about bombing fucking Nigeria, like Jesus fucking Christ. Like literally the way that I don't think this is slight aside. I don't think people realize just how like absolutely Back to the Future-y we're getting here with this, where we're just rolling everything back so far because they're literally completely nerfing all of our green ability to research and develop green energy, and fully putting all of our shit into fossil fuels again, to the point that they're still making wars for oil. Like, that's what this shit with Venezuela is all about. That's what the shit with Greenland is all about. That's what the shit now with Nigeria is all about, and with the Middle East. It's all about this stupid fucking obsession with oil that we still have in 2025, and enrages me. Like, it's also what informed Trump on Ukraine and Russia, because the first deal he comes in with is Ukraine will do everything you want us to do in exchange for 50% of your mineral reserves. What the fuck? What is it, 1980? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
I hated that deal with Ukraine and Trump trying to get Zelensky in on that. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, okay, so basically for the United States to step in, we get your stuff. So
I will say, not to
it's
jump in, like, all Trump did was say the quiet part out loud. That is how that has been U.S. foreign policy like since its inception. He just said the quiet part out where we can all hear it.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much. Like, because
Usually
that's also
we find out about that like years afterwards. Usually after we've done doing the regime change, or we're done, backing whoever we needed to back. Then we find out, oh, hey, so and so, this multinational corp just signed a bunch of oil exploration rights. Where this time Trump just got in front of it by going, hey, we'll help, but you got to do what you've been, what we ask everybody else to do. And then like all his advisors are like, no, we don't say that part.
So I
basically.
think,
and that's the issue with Nigeria too, is whenever people, if you ever find yourself wondering, why the fuck are we like saber rattling with these people now? Nigeria has one of the richest oil reserves in Africa. So,
and I do 2 things quick. Shout out Michael Parenti, big influence of mine. But he has a quote that says, "You wouldn't go to a poor country," in quotes, to get rich. And everybody says that Africa's a poor country. Yes, big Parenti fan. Highly recommend. Anybody that's listening, there's hundreds of like free lectures on YouTube that he gives. And he pops the fuck off at a lot of them.
The yellow lecture, as it's known.
Yes, Yellow Parenti.
Yellow Parenti was one of my first forays into leftism.
Okay.
And I mean, to have that as one of my introductory things, it was no surprise that I like barreled into it.
Yes.
Because yeah, like Parenti, really, I mean, just if you are maybe unfamiliar or baseline familiar with like socialism or some of the terminology or just some of the history,
Imperialism.
yeah,
and,
like you listen to Parenti and like, man, he does such a good job of making it like accessible and understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Also,
I
another.
I turned this into a whole Parenti talk.
I do think.
Well, I was gonna say, as another recommendation along those lines, Richard Wolff is also an excellent a speaker and writer on. I love listening to his shit on
Yes.
leftist stuff. Like he's one of those people that like openly defends Marx and stuff, and also he's the one that kind of gave me my take on Marxism, which is that I identify as a Marxist because the whole point is to just criticize the capitalist system and come up with an alternative.
Yeah.
Like that's the baseline of Marxism, and that's something that he reinforced a lot. And he was like, honestly, everybody should be a Marxist because of that. And I was like, ooh.
I'm curious as we kind of start to move into a wrap up here. I've heard Emma's perspective. 2 weeks ago, we had Garnet on, friend of the show, friend of all of ours, who helped organize the No Kings. And then they had some really great perspectives on how it went in Green Bay. As listeners know, Jay is not in Green Bay with us. But Jay got to speak at the No Kings, as did I, but he spoke in front of far more people than I did. What was your perspective on like the vibe of No Kings, the maybe political usefulness?
Sure.
How did your speech go? What was the cop interaction like?
Yeah. I'd say first of all, man, dang, it is not a competition of crowds now. It's awesome to be able to speak to our community, and to the people in it. So like kudos to you, man, being able to speak at that event and to share your perspectives with people is huge, man. Don't I know you weren't trying to. I just want to say I don't want to discount the great work that you did, and I'm such a fan of yours. Honestly, you are being younger than me too. Like all of you actually on this pod are great inspirations and make me very happy to do the work I'm doing because I get to work with people like you guys.
Yeah, Jay.
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm not in Green Bay anymore. I'm not in Wisconsin. I'm up in the UP. So I got to go down to Lansing, Michigan, our capital for No Kings. We had a much larger turnout than we were expecting. We had about 5,000 or 6,000 at the first No Kings event, I guess, down in June. We knew more were coming this time. We were expecting 8 or 9 maybe, and we ended up around 20,000 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were right up there next to Detroit. Detroit had a little over 20,000. And it was crazy. And I want to say, at least my anecdotal evidence, I see a lot of bashing of No Kings in leftist spaces. And I mean, to a point, there's always room for critique, and there's plenty to critique. Especially with some of the orgs that are partnering with No Kings, you do have to be wary of opportunism, people who want to co-opt movements and neuter them. I will say, in my experience working with the entire, now they're called Wisconsin Resist, but they used to be the 5051 group out of Wisconsin, and as well as the 5051 Michigan group, which we're now called Spark, which I think you're noticing now more and more people are moving away from the co-opting brand and becoming their own. And I will say, in my anecdotal evidence, it was awesome. It was useful. It was necessary. A lot of the critiques I saw in these leftist spaces were not present in Michigan or Wisconsin that I saw. There was a lot. We had a speaker in Lansing from Lansing for Palestine. We don't give in to the narrative that we can't focus on what people call niche issues. I don't see a lot of that silencing of leftist voices at ours. We didn't know one thing that we pushed in Michigan, and we were successful at Lansing and a couple other ones, was we didn't allow any elected official to speak. Only members of community or people who had a stake in what was happening, and I think that was a big thing. So I think don't write off No Kings is where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
see stuff like that, and it reeks of liberalism and of feel good vibes and not action. It might feel that way, but when you get to those events and you talk to the organizers and you talk to the people who have tables and you talk to even a lot of the people who are there, they want an action step. They are looking for a call to action when they go to these things. They are not looking to listen to a speech and go home feeling like they did something. I don't see hashtag activists like I saw in the immediate aftermath after George Floyd in 2020. I see a lot of people who are tired and going to, I'm going to call to one of my favorite music acts here with Run the Jewels and Killer Mike.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He has a great line, and towards at the end of one of his songs where it says, when starvation is present and absence is a job, a man will simply starve or he will form a mob. And when people are we're getting, and it's sadly not hyperbole anymore, that people are reaching a breaking point and a desperation point. I think having something structured and that has real calls to action like No Kings, where at least in my experience, the calls to action were actionable, they were real, there were concrete steps you could take afterwards. Having something that is so important in times like today, where people are going to get increasingly desperate and they're going to resort to measures that they might not have resorted to otherwise. So having organizations like the Black Panther Party, having organizations like Food Not Bombs, people like Green Bay Anti-War, locally, go to these orgs, find out what you can do, and when you see that those are the orgs putting on these events, like, it takes away that criticism of, oh, they aren't doing anything. I would be wary of anybody telling you that these events are worthless, and instead just go investigate it.
Yeah.
I'll get off my soapbox on that.
No, that was phenomenal.
Quick add-on, Dane, before you go. I was just gonna say, to the point of join an organization. My finger keeps disappearing. To the point that Jay had of join an organization, that's 100%. Like yesterday, I literally met with Garnet at Safe Haven while feeding the babies, of course, to talk about getting back involved with Citizen Action Wisconsin, which I had previously been on their candidate endorsement committee, and then just faded because of reasons that I won't get into here. It's a lot, but once I found out they were like a high-profile figure in that organization, now I was down to come back. And one of the things that includes is on the 11th, I'm going up to Madison to play lobbyist for the first time, so that's going to be fun.
Yes, you go to the lobby day that day, right?
Yep, yeah. And I'm gonna, because I told her, I was like, I mean, I've bullied politicians, and I've also been friends with politicians. I'm
I've bullied some of the
over here.
politicians I'm friends with.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the goal at some point. Like I absolutely want to run for something, but right now I'm content to help other people I know run for things. Dane, and also support people like Ahmad that I like. But yeah, Garnet was like, so we're gonna go up there and it's a conversation between we're gonna talk to Ahmad and Jamie Wall, and I was like, oh good, Ahmad and I have a good relationship, but he's basically one of my best friends now. And I was like, and Jamie and I are friendly. We're not like friends, but we're friendly. And they were like, well, unfortunately with Jamie, it's not going to be as friendly of a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. So
no, hold on before I go. You need to ask him why he is supporting the anti-Semitism bill to recategorize anti-Semitism as being pro-Palestine. He is like one of the only Democratic. What was that?
I believe it. Yeah, they want to adopt the IHRA.
He's one of the only Democrats that. Please pop off.
Yeah, send it to me so I don't forget. But I will absolutely bring that up.
Yes, and then quick couple remarks on No Kings. I'm curious to get Eve's take on that as somebody that was there as well. I do agree, and Garnet phrased it the way they put it was kind of, there's catalyst events and then there's like campaign-based events. And I think No Kings is a great catalyst
100%.
event. And it's evident, like Jay, with what you were saying, in my speech, I talked about Oshkosh Corp, making vehicles for genocide. And we had a call to action of like, hey, we have these letters to start our campaign going to the execs. I think we had about 50 before. We're over 200 now.
Wow.
After No Kings. Like we've had to continuously change. Like our goal was 100 and then our goal is 200. And so we keep
better, man.
And so in that regard, it does work. Because I was kind of surprised too, because we were a little nervous, the speechwriters and I, because it was definitely, we were the ones there with the Palestine flags. Everybody else had U.S. flags, wearing keffiyehs.
I was so jazzed.
I came out and was talking shit about Oshkosh Corp, a local company that some people in the audience might work for or have, so it took a little bit of risk. They did have to silence my shirt, which I was a little frustrated about.
Especially now, like Dick Cheney.
Yeah. Shout out to my comrade Devin, who just happened to have a sweatshirt right by the podiums.
To honor Dick.
What? Yeah, right.
To honor old Dick Cheney there.
Yes, but I guess and then we also had a shit ton of cops.
Oh, okay.
Which,
We only had I think we had 9 total cops in Lansing.
We had snipers. We had snipers on the roof of the school.
If anybody hasn't listened to our episode with Garnet, they go into talking a little bit more about how it was way more than what was needed or was expected.
And we talked about doing like community service officers instead of police at those kinds of events.
Yeah. But I'm curious, Eve, what your take on that? Because was that your first like big protest that you had been to?
It was not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think it was my third.
Okay.
Because I went to a pro-choice protest, and then I went to the first No Kings.
Okay.
And then it was this one.
Okay.
Actually, that's ironic because I had the exact same. It was also 4 if you count the Tea Party protest that I went to when I was a kid, but I don't like about that one. I like to pretend that didn't happen. My dad dragged me there. It wasn't that big. It was Bakersfield, so But the first major lefty one was the Elon Musk one, and then the first No Kings, and then the second No Kings. Yeah, no, I love that one. It was so good.
I was cheering you guys on from up north.
I thought it was amazing. I thought, Dane, you were amazing speaker.
Thank you.
100%. And it was good to see everyone there.
Yes.
It was hopeful and it was full of life and full of energy, and just walking through the neighborhood that we did, people were looking to us with hope and just stars in their eyes. It was great, and especially that one house who, like, oh my gosh, they were dancing outside. They were playing music with us.
Fuck Donald Trump.
I love those guys.
Fun.
Like, both ways, when we were going and when we were coming back, they made a point of coming out and cheering us on. And when it was like the little Latino kids that came out, I was like,
yes,
yeah, it's for you guys.
Oh, and then that same house, they ended up pulling their smoker out. I was driving by and I could smell it, and I'm like, oh, I should turn around and I should be like, y'all were amazing. I was marching and I wanted to join you guys so bad, and your food smells amazing. And just hope that they would just invite me to their
cookout. Yeah,
I know, right?
I gotta say too, Eve, you said something I think I just want to really touch on quick. Is you said that it felt hopeful there.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to one of my favorite new shows, which is extremely leftist coded, which is Andor from
Yes. Shout out
and
Andor.
One of the best lines, in my opinion, from that show, and it's used in season 1 and I believe season 2. Rebellions are built on hope.
Mm-hmm. I think
I second that. If you have not watched it, you don't have to be a huge Star Wars nerd like me. Phenomenal fucking show. I honestly don't know how.
Who had an actual manifesto?
Yeah, I don't know how it got greenlit. Andor is explicitly based off of a young Stalin. That was
light, right? Like robbing the train and
and even looks a little bit like it.
Yeah, young Stalin's pretty hot. Not gonna lie.
Honestly, so was old Stalin, but
I was gonna say, it changes demographics, but still hot. Like,
yeah, like he goes from being like hot, like, you know, person my age to being, you know, hot grandpa. Like,
I would say he goes from being hot to being daddy.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But I
Daddy's
guess one
solid.
more question, Eve, before we get to wrap up. What did you, as somebody who was there kind of like right in the middle of everything, what was your opinion of all the police presence that we had at it? Like, did it make you feel safer or?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
Guns give me major anxiety.
Yeah, valid.
It's a huge trigger. Police in general give people a lot of anxiety due to what they stand for in this current age and what they have throughout history and throughout society. So I think it just made everyone feel uneasy, and I think their presence only gets people more upset. So truly, that's how I feel about any situation where people bring guns into the mix. I feel like it makes everything worse. It escalates situations, and everything can turn into chaos if something goes wrong. If one thing little goes wrong, then everyone else will trigger at the sound of gunfire or someone holding up a gun. It's going to be havoc. So thank God nothing happened. I think it was more important for EMS to be there and the fire department, and especially with some medical emergencies in the crowd that happened. So I feel like that is way more important than a massive police presence, because obviously they are only trained in like basic first aid and CPR, I think.
Yeah.
Don't fact check me there, but
we do have some trolls in our comments. So we'll
yeah. So I think having more of a EMS there would be more important than police. And I just think it just made everyone just go like, why? And then I guess it was because of people making threats that they will show up and shoot up the protest. So, which I understand, but I feel like it was way too much of a presence for that incident, especially since a lot of people are just keyboard warriors. I like to use that because, you know,
reclaim it back to,
yeah,
I mean, a lot of them were talking about protesting the Pride event at Oneida, and like 7 people showed up.
But yeah, and another point I want to bring up about the No Kings protest quick is I was also disappointed in the lack of diversity when it came to speakers. I think that was kind of a massive thing that Dane, Emma, I talked with you both about, like at the whole event. I think having more voices within those minority groups would have been very important. It would have made a very huge impact. And looking amongst the crowd, it was a sea of white, I will not lie. And I think that's just because of our county. We live in Wisconsin. It is obviously Green Bay isn't that diverse, but
might be that there's just a lot of white folks.
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
The supply of non-white is low.
Yeah. And I just think it's disappointing, especially having a farmer up there. Like, he was an older man, he was speaking, and he wasn't really talking about farmers or agriculture. He was talking about immigration. So I thought that was odd, and I thought that was a horrible choice. I thought he was going to go up there. I was thinking, oh, he's going to talk to the farmers. He's going to be like that farmer perspective of what's going on. And he did a little bit, but majority of his speech was about immigration. And I feel like him being a white male, Irish Catholic in his own words, love him, but like I feel like he was a poor choice when talking about immigration and race and ethnicities. I think there could have been a better choice there. But overall, I think the event went well, and it was just happy, you know, people were just having fun. And I feel like a lot of people don't really know what a protest and the energy is like unless you're there. And because the media doesn't show how fun it is and how the conversations that are had and what the whole atmosphere is like. And it's, again, it's hopeful and it's awesome. And it's sad that a lot of people kind of just take what the media just gives them and doesn't try and leave their bubble and just see what's going on, you know? It's very welcoming.
For
Yeah,
sure. And I think
oh,
a big just one more thing quick. I did choose to end my speech with a chant in Spanish, largely for that reason.
Which looks like people try to mumble it in Spanish when they didn't know Spanish was funny. But...
Yeah, but actually, like the look, it was kind of cool. I mean, obviously, as a white guy, I thought this was kind of cool. But the look that I got from some like Hispanic families in the audience when I said like El Pueblo Unido Más será vencido.
I was hoping that's what you said. That's
Yes,
one of my favorite chants. And
yes,
a lot of labor.
Yeah. When I said that and like I looked down and they like looked up at me, like it was just like I kind of got goose because they were like, "What?" Like I did not expect that to happen. So that was kind of cool. But we do need to start getting into wrap up. Unfortunately, so we usually try to end.
I could do this forever, honestly.
Yes.
I spend the rest of my day doing this.
Right. We do typically try to end with like somewhat of like a cool question. Jay already kind of talked about Andor, so we'll kind of use that. Any cool TV shows or books that y'all have been into? I will second the Andor thing. That is my favorite show of all time. It's great. Eve or Emma?
So, I didn't come prepared. Sorry, what's my name? I'm just kidding. Okay, it's a little bit. Bear with me on this one. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power on Netflix by N.D. Stevenson. Phenomenal. It's very like intersectional. It's very LGBT. Like literally, I don't think there's a single straight character in the whole show. Like they basically turned what was just a giant commercial for the toy line for She-Ra and He-Man into something that actually, like, the entire thing was a story about them going after essentially a space fascist who his entire army was just clones of himself. And
so like Trump's like dream.
exactly. And this came like, you know, during the first Trump administration. I think the middle season was in 2020, and or maybe the last season. I don't know. Time is weird after that, but phenomenal show. It's very subversive. It has a lot of really good like revolutionary messages in it. It has a lot of very good intersectional dialogues and stuff like that. That's fantastic. And then also, yeah, I'll go with this one. Henry George, Progress and Poverty.
For a book, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Henry George was one of the early founders of socialism. And he has like his own little branch off of it called Georgism. So Progress and Poverty is an excellent.
Georgism. That's awesome.
Yeah. Good old Georgie.
I say, whenever I heard Georgism, all I can think of is George Costanza from, and I feel like that would be a total Seinfeld is that he accidentally creates a new school of socialist thought.
Yes, that is very Seinfeld.
Stanzism.
Yes.
There's the little music drop.
Yeah.
Eve, you got any Rex?
Yeah, Dane, you need to send these in advance, like
okay.
before the podcast. Like, man, dropping this on me.
So I have a couple extra minutes.
Yeah, I did appreciate that because if I had gone first, I would have taken a lot longer to think of that.
So I would have to say I'm watching the show right now called High Potential. Okay. It's kind of one of those really cheesy shows, like that is on Hulu right now, and the main character, she's a mom and she has like incredible intelligence, so like really high IQ, and then she wears like these really fun, colorful outfits, like boots, and then she works as a consultant for the police department. I think LA police. Yeah. And it's so funny. It is hilarious. She is a mood. Totally recommend if you need any like lighthearted stuff, but it does get pretty serious because obviously there is crime involved, and even like almost like a jigsaw type thing, like for a few episodes. I was like a bunch of riddles, and then but yeah, they're still dropping new episodes. It's in season 2 right now, and it's funny and I love it. It passes the time and it's cute.
Yes.
So yeah, that's probably my show. I like a lot of true crime stuff in general. So I mean, after the Ed Gein monster show dropped, I needed, and then High Potential was releasing new episodes, and I'm like, I'm just gonna scoot right back into there, There's not a lot of good stuff.
Honestly, some of my closest friends are
Yeah.
some of my closest friends are true crime girlies, and we always love them. So
I was gonna say, like recent TV that I'm watching, I guess a show we've been watching, me and my wife, quick shout out to my wife, it is our 8th anniversary today.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. And yeah, one thing we've been watching is we just got finally all caught up on The Boys.
Nice, yes.
Yeah.
Gen V.
And then I would say, and we're catching up.
Yeah,
on
I need to
Gen
get
V.
caught up
We
in
just
that
started
too.
Season 2 of Gen V. It's a spinoff. And then I'm trying to think, is there any other? I think that was, and then an older TV show that I just started rewatching or watching for the first time after getting it recommended is Mr. Robot.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, and
you are
already,
going
like,
to love
It
that.
starts off with him talking about how much he dislikes corporations, so I'm already excited.
No,
yeah, we're already there.
Jay,
And then reading,
I
don't
watched.
get a ton of time anymore. Or sorry, I was gonna say I don't get a ton of time anymore with reading, just because I've been so busy. I wanted to plug them real quick. Is my loom workers, canvas workers. Last time I was up here on the pod when you guys had me, thank you again.
Yes.
I talked about organizing up there, and so the loom workers in Escanaba, Michigan, up here formed a union. We're a little over 14 months without a contract, so we are hoping people can. It's not going to show up.
It did briefly, but I didn't remember which
briefly,
position
just
it was.
look us up. Loom Escanaba. Go support the workers there. But
Oh yeah,
with the shows, it kind of leans into it gets me my leftist fix with some fiction because Mr. Robot's been great, and then The Boys is just such an overt mocking of the far right that like it's so cathartic to watch sometimes.
Yeah, the only part of it that doesn't feel like what we're already living through is the superheroes, and I was like,
honestly, like I'm thankful of that too, because I'm like, the last thing I want is like JD Vance with like heat vision.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
that would be horrifying.
Yeah, no, my roommate and I actually talked about that last night, where I was like, I absolutely do not want to exist in the world of The Boys without superpowers. So like, I was 100% behind, not to spoil, but Team Butcher's decision to take temporary V, because I'm not existing. I'm just gonna blow it out.
I'm not gonna
if I don't
live in this world when there's a way not to.
Fuck that.
But I second Mr. Robot. There is literally in like I think the end of the second season, there is like literally a montage that has Trump in it, like and like it's the protagonist like walking, just like looking at how fucked up the world is, and it's like playing like clips of like Donald Trump, like we're gonna make America great, and like I was like, holy! It was another show like Andor where I was like, guys, like
are you allowed to do this?
Yeah, right. So I highly recommend that show, but we do unfortunately have to get wrapped up. Calls to action we always end with. Yes. Calls to action. Jay kind of touched on his already. Support unions, especially the
not just mine. Support all your unions.
Yes. Don't shop at Loom until they get a contract. I know it's hard because they're like the Walmart of weed.
Right now we're not. I want to be super clear. We're not calling for a boycott right now.
Oh, okay.
What we're actually doing is we hope you show up. We want you to go there, and we want you to tell them, hey, support your workers, give them a contract. Like we want them to hear it from people. So
got it. Okay.
Go there, leave them a review on Google. And when you leave that review, say, be even better if you gave your Escanaba workers a contract.
Okay, noted.
I am actively dematerializing, but to quote, since it was brought up before, Killer Mike. Well, okay, first my usual, stay trashy goblins, do chaos. And then, to quote Killer Mike, I'll leave you with a word. I'm glad Reagan and Dick Cheney did. I added the Dick Cheney part. Technically, he didn't say that, but I'm sure if he did a redo of the song, it would be Dick Cheney.
Eve, you got anything?
What?
Call to action. Just you want people to get involved.
Self-care. Everyone take care of yourselves.
100%.
Please.
one.
Please.
That is a great one.
That is
Mental
like
health care sucks already.
oh yes.
Yeah.
It's horrible in the field right now. Please take care of yourselves and do what makes you happy. That's biggest call to action for me. Just take care of yourselves.
That much needed, very much needed. And then I always say, get active, get wise, get organized.
Yes.
Free Palestine, fuck ICE, and free Luigi.
Woo!
Free Palestine, free ICE. No, sorry, I did it again. Fuck, every time. Free Palestine, free Luigi, fuck ICE.
Yes.
Yes.